Hello, and welcome to Better Betting. Here are your hosts, the king of Timonium, Gary Quill, and the ruler of the replays, Eric Rubin.
Hey, and welcome to Better Betting. My name is Eric Rubin, and I'm here with my partner, the king of Timonium, Gary Quill. GQ, how be you?
Very, very well, Eric. Sure glad the sun is shining on Mondays and Tuesdays, at least in my neck of the woods, but it seems like upstate New York still has some wet weather and possibly for Saturday. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going up, leaving Thursday tomorrow. We'll be there through the weekend. And the only thing I will say is the forecast was really bad as of a couple days ago. It's gotten a lot better to where it looks like Friday is going to be a total washout, but Saturday, I think we're supposed to get some rain early, and then it should be okay after that. So I think being at the track on Saturday will be a nice day. I'm just worried they might be off the turf, especially early, but hoping the stakes at least stay on the turf to keep it somewhat decent of a card. So that's the weather prediction for this weekend.
Yeah, I saw David Graham from the Daily Racing Forum. He posted something on X, and of course I can't find it now, but there's two stakes races that are on Saturday's card that they have made arrangements if the weather's bad enough on Saturday that they'll move it to Sunday at the end of the card.
Yeah, and it's not going to be part of any pick five or multi-race
Right.
bet. I guess doubles, all that. I don't know. I guess they moved some races from last week to this week. It's tough because they take it off the turf. They're going to run 2-3 horse fields probably, and these are fairly big stakes races, so they don't want to do that. So there's really no ideal situation. I don't know what's best, but I just wish that they would have a contingency plan for those of us who like to play multi-race horizontal bets, whether they are pick fives or pick threes or whatever they are, that they had a backup plan. So if they do move those races, they can still have like a late pick five or late pick four, something like that. Last weekend when they moved the races, they didn't have those multi-race bets, so it made it a lot less interesting for those of us who like to play those horizontals.
So I found the tweet. So this is going to be old news by the time the end of the week, but the Saratoga Derby, which is part of the middle pick five, will be out. Saratoga Derby and the 4-Star Dave will be carded as contingency races for Sunday. That means if the rain forces those races off the turf on Saturday when they are scheduled, they will be run as the final two races on Sunday's card and be excluded from horizontal wagers, as you said. So
there we go. Well, that's
fun
right.
Times in upstate New York.
Yes, the cards, it started out okay. I mean, if I remember, like day one or day two was rainy, but it's lately been a little tough with the weather. But there's not much you can do. I guess as time goes on, it's only going to get more and more crazy. So got to get used to it.
And who's the winner in all this? Linda Rice, because she'll enter all of her horses for main track only. And then when it's scratched down to 4 horses, her horse who had no shot in grade 2 or just a overnight stakes race becomes the 1-2 favorite and romps in a watered down stakes race. So much for the validity of black type for horses as they go to stud. So
yeah, and these stakes races don't seem too exciting anyway. So if they move them, it's not the end of the world, to be honest with you. So I'm going up with some people this weekend. So for me, it's just going to be a fun weekend, and the horses are going to kind of be secondary, which is weird, I know, but I'm not going to have time to sit there and study all these races, all day on Saturday and stuff like that. So just have a little fun when we go up there. Hopefully weather's okay. I was going to say before you jump in there, I don't know if you want me to say this because I'm always reluctant to say I'm going away, because then people, like, I don't understand why people post on Facebook like they're going away. It's like, my house is empty. Come rob it now if you want.
Yes.
So I'm reluctant to say things, but I'm in a secure building and I have literally, unless you want a cat or something like that, I have nothing to steal here. But I don't know if you want me saying anything. You are in a bunker, though. No one knows where you live right now. So I think it's safe. But you're going to be a hop, skip, and a jump from Saratoga compared to where you are now. I was hoping you'd come by for a day, but
oh yeah,
it's not.
that's not going to happen. because it's supposed to rain pretty much the whole time.
Well, Saturday, Sunday
I'm
should
in
be
New
nice.
England, so forget it. So, but this is my one day at the bunker, and for those who are disappointed that I didn't have a whole lot to say last week, you'll be equally disappointed this week because of the change and my schedule. So you'll hear me, but barely my opinion. So before you totally shut us down, make sure you go and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hopefully, one of these weeks we'll get a card that is not washed off the turf, and we'll be able to give some valuable information. So, without further ado, should we venture into the Saturday at Saratoga middle pick five? We're going to go over races 5 through 9 on Saturday at the Spa. So we're going to start off. Race 5 is a field of 8 going 6.5 furlongs on the dirt, and it's for horses who have not beaten winners, aka non-winners of 2 Life, for a claiming price of 16,000. So, Eric, without further ado, it's yours.
All right. So sadly, this is actually one of the more exciting races of the little sequence we're doing here. And there's 3 drop downs or 4 drop downs, and that's where the story begins, I guess. First thing to look at is number 5, Devil Blue Dress. I don't know if it's named at all for Duke or Blue Devil Racing. So I guess that's Duke. So that's one reason to hate the horse right there. But anyway, this horse is dropping big time. Did I even tell you, coaching basketball, we called it the Duke Charge back in the day? I used to tell the kids because Duke with Coach K, who I won't get into, they were so good at standing under the basket after you take off, stepping in and being under the basket and getting the charge. Eventually, they put that circle there, the arc, so you can't do that. But whenever one of my kids that I'm coaching would take a charge like under the basket like that, say, hey, Duke charge, good job. You took a Duke charge, because the rest were afraid that Coach Krzyzewski would like slit their throat as they came by. So the rest were scared of him. So they gave him every charge in the book. Was that like Elliot Brand? And I forgot who else those guys were that made
Shane Battier was
doing that. Shane Battier. That's who I was thinking of, but Brand might have also, but that's perfect. Thank you. But anyway, that's my abnormal hatred of Duke. Get that out of the way. Go Tar Heels. But Devil Blue Dress is a big dropper. I mean, he was going against horses who had like 80 buyers last time. In this race, you get an 80 buyer, you're winning by 30 lengths. So he was going against much better last time. Yeah, he kind of looks like he had an easy lead, but it actually wasn't that easy of a lead last time. He did get pressured, and he quit badly, but against better. The question is, even though he's dropping a lot, his one big figure was when he had an easy lead, ran against maiden special weights, and it's all the way back in November. I mean, I can't blame you if you like the 5. He's a horse to beat, I guess, and he's got speed, but at a short price, especially as we'll go through the sequence, if you're looking at the pick 5, Cogburn is in this sequence, and he'll be 1 to 2, 1 to 5, something like that. I don't need Devil Blue Dress and Cogburn in this sequence. So if this horse beats me, I'll be out, and I'll worry about some other bets. So again, I can't blame you for Devil Blue Dress. He is the horse to beat, but I'm going to try and beat. The 6 is dropping down for the aforementioned Linda Rice. And again, this is a horse who has run against better. Most of the horses last race were getting like 70 buyers, basically, or a few of them last race. So he definitely was going, I said he before. She was definitely going against better as well. Speed did hold last race, had a relatively easy lead early. I didn't love the way she ran, but again, it's just the drop makes her a factor. And the other drop down that's actually going to be the second choice is a 7, if I can find her, Spiritual Lady. Spiritual Lady's had a bunch of chances here. She went pretty well to break her maiden, I thought, dueling a 3 to 5 shot. That was back in, who came in third? That was back in April at Keeneland. And since then, again, has gone against 50,000 starter allowance, which is significantly better than these, and didn't embarrass herself 3 back. I don't care about the last turf race. So all 3 of these horses are fine. There are 2 that I'm going to key on, though, and the main one is going to be the outside horse for Ray Handel, who's having an excellent meet. And that's Till There Was You. Very light on the speed figures. And she is coming out of a bit of a tougher race, I guess, that optional 35 claimer. And I thought she ran very well in her first start. Granted, it was not against a very tough competition, but she was squeezed at the start and still got up to win. And it was in the mud, so if it is a muddy track, that's nice to see. And then last race, I thought she ran better than it looks. She got in a duel with Call Her Bluff, who's a 5-1 winner, but that's a horse who came back to win with another 70-something buyer or 70 buyer thereabouts. I'm not going to click on it. I thought about it. So she dueled a pretty good horse there, and she showed she can come off the pace in her first start. So I really kind of like that horse there, the 8. That would be my first option. And then the other horse I like a little bit is the 3 horse, Jay's Love at 8-1, more for the price than anything else. Granted, she beat nothing when she broke her maiden March 2nd. One way you know that is she was coming off a 2:22 and a 26 buyer, yet she was a 5-2 shot in that field. So, without clicking on the formulator and seeing who was in the race, there was not much in that race. She goes in some really crazy spots here, the Stallion Series, and that 50,000 starter allowance. She was just outclassed. And then last race, she ran at this level, and I thought she ran very well. She made an early move into a solid pace, and I thought that race was a little too far for her, perhaps. She was trying the mile. So when you move into a fast-paced mile, and it's a little further than you want to go, that's not terrible. I don't know. She's still got to run well to beat these drop downs. So on a key around the 3 and 8. And as far as the pick 5 goes, if the 5 or 7 are heavily favored, like if the 5 goes off a favorite at 7-5, and the 7 drifts up, the 6 drifts up, I might throw them in as well. But I don't want the short price here. So I'm going to go 5, 8, and possibly throw in out of the 5, 6, or 7, any of those prices. I don't really see anyone else here. I mentioned almost everyone, but I don't really care for the 4 Dash and Della and the 2 inside horses, but they're prices. So if you like them, I wouldn't fault you for that. So that's how I'm starting it out. It's not the race I would love to bet vertically. I mean, can I get the 3-8 exacta together? I guess. Do I want to bet them with the 3 chalks, meaning put like 3-8 over the 5, 6, 7? I don't know. I don't like betting where there's chalk. If one of those favorites, so 5 or 7, take a ton of money, I can see betting against them. So if the 5 takes a ton of money, Devil Blue Dress goes off like even money. Maybe I can do something with the 3, 6, 7, 8, keying the 3. It's like 3-8 with 3, 6, 7, 8 or something like that, and try and beat that short price favorite. But I guess drop downs are not my specialty. That's why I don't love betting Oaklawn a lot, because you usually get all these drop downs, and that's what we're getting here. So be it as it may, that's kind of how I see that race. GQ?
Yes. Scroll on up. I'm going to have to buy a bell or an air horn. And
how far scrolling?
Yeah, go ahead and scroll up to Jay's Love, the 3.
Yes.
And I saw something while you were talking about Jay's Love last race, even though it was May, which, shoots a little caveat into the second time blinkers. Ding, 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 ding.
Very nice. I thought there was more to that. She was actually a bet scratch a couple of weeks ago. She was entered because I remember studying her, I don't know, early in the meet. So I don't know if that means anything. It said illness actually when I looked it up. So they actually did list why. So July 17th. But if you look at the works, she worked July 21st, 4 days after the scratch, and seemed to work well, if you believe that. So 3rd out of 55 for a 3-year-old filly who's running a cheap claiming is pretty fast. So if that's accurate. So I don't know if that bet scratch really means much. Did you want to add anything else? Do you want to move on? Your call.
No, let's move on. We'll move on to race 6, which is the Saratoga Derby run on the turf. Let's hope. If not, it'll be run on Sunday on the turf. It's a 1 3/16, and it's a field of 8. So what do you got, Derek, in this year's Saratoga Derby?
Well, a couple of things. Thanks. The one Legend of Time is scratching out of the race. This is redrawn from last week. I studied this last week. It was not part of the sequence we covered on the show, but this race was one of the middle races. And Diego Velasquez was the big favorite. An Aidan O'Brien shipper who ends up not coming back in this race. I didn't ask or research why. Hopefully the horse is okay. Assuming just travel plans or something, but I don't even know. Legend of Time, who I was generally playing against last week and probably again this week, got scratched, or is going to get scratched from this spot. So that kind of sucks because it was a 5-2 shot I wasn't going to use. And then the 3-1 shot, who I didn't love either, Tricari. Maybe I'm lucky that he scratched because maybe he would have won, but I was kind of against Tricari too. And that horse is likely scratching, according to a tweet by one of the DRF writers, leaning towards Colonial. Doesn't mean it's definite, but sounds like Tricari will go at Colonial instead. And I just thought was up on a kind of soft pace. And Palomino, who he was chasing, ended up coming back. And if that race was another 5 feet, I think Palomino comes back on this horse. And so Tricari is a nice horse. I love Grand Motion, but I was really, once I heard he was scratching and the one was scratching, this became an upsetting race to me because I was against both of those. And I thought, oh, I'll get something here, especially pick 5 value wise if I get it right. So having said that, now I'm like back to the drawing board in a way. I mean, I know who I like and all, but as far as how I'm going to bet it, a couple horses to touch on. First of all, one bomb here probably doesn't have much of a shot, but the 2 horse Izzy Dioro is probably the lone speed. So if you like lone speed, then this is a horse for you. Actually ran pretty well at Monmouth last time against Carson's Run. Set the pace and dueled a horse who was 7-1, who ended up coming in 7th. So definitely a solid pace, even if the time doesn't look that strong. I find it hard to play this horse, but again, lone speed. And if I'm going to go deep in this race, I would definitely think about adding the 2 horse Izzy Dioro just for that factor. Horse I like, I guess, the most now, more for the price, is the 3 Royal Majesty. Much more appealing at 8-1 against those. Now we're going to get maybe 4-1 and not as appealing. It's not like I love this horse, but I did mention how that Belmont Derby with Tricari and Palomino, I didn't think there was much of a pace in that race. So the fact that this horse was a little back and more of a closer was kind of up against it. I don't like that the horse was out finished, though. I wish he finished a little stronger. So that leaves me reason to pause. Now he's out finished by Legend of Time, who saved ground. And yeah, Legend of Time had gotten stuck a little bit on the rail, but definitely saved ground. So maybe I can understand why the horse is out finished. So I kind of like Royal Majesty, but again, now there's no pace again. So I don't know how much I like the horse. I'm kind of against the 4 Carson's Run, who I think got a pretty good setup against weaker horses at Monmouth. Third off a layoff, could step forward one more time and could be a threat. Guy who I play hockey with, our team captain's last name is Carson. He was looking forward to this horse running last week. So I feel bad rooting against the horse for that reason, but because he'll be betting him. But no, I don't love the horse. Just moving along, Fulmineo or Fulmineo is fine. I'm kind of not going to bet this horse, but he's 10-1, or again, there's scratches. So all these odds are going to be shorter, but I'm not in love with this horse. Wasn't exactly extending on the win last time at Colonial. So is he going to get the mile on, was it 3/8, 3/16? I forgot what you said. 3/16.
3/16.
Yeah, it's not crazy far or whatever, but still, I don't know, distance wise, if this horse wants to go any further when he was.
Well, Fulmineo, if you scroll back two back at Pimlico, that was I think it was the Friday. Yeah, that was Black Eyed Susan's Day when the turf was just soaked, and they still ran the turf, couple of the turf races.
Right.
So those times would have been really pedestrian. But he came through with flying colors.
Yeah, for those of you who, if you're looking at the screen here, if you follow, I don't know if you can see my little cursor here, but that's the track variant. And
I've never seen a number that big.
Yeah, you want to just explain so I don't do all the talking here? I feel like I'm hog. I got yelled at last week for
sure.
Not by you.
The 2 numbers to the right, or the 2 sets of numbers to the right of where it shows the odds for the race. This was the gold standard before a gentleman by the name of Andrew Beyer came up with his infamous speed rankings. Every horse player lived and died by these. And basically, the 2 numbers, the first number, as Eric highlighted, is known as the track variant. And that's based on how all races for that distance or surface, how the times measured up against the track record. So obviously, the larger the number, like if that particular race was run in track record time, that number would be non-existent. It would be blank, indicating a track record. But the fact that the number is so high indicates how slow the race was. And the first number is basically what, like, kind of like what the buyer is. It was the speed rating just for the races overall. So before the buyer speed figures, horse players, what they would do is just add those two numbers together to come up with a speed figure. And, for whatever reason, some people would just look at the first number, which was idiotic, because you can tell that the J.W. Murphy, if you add the two together, the horse ran a 98, but yet the next race where he had an 80 speed figure, the track variant was, the track was very fast and it was only 14. So his total speed figure was 94. So that was actually, a less impressive race than the one previous. So
yeah, and you chuckled when I first brought it up, because I don't know if I've ever seen a 56. That's just basically saying the turf was like playing extremely slow. So you guys look and see, 51-4 for the half mile time. You're like, oh my God, I can run that on my own two legs. Almost. No, I'm kidding. But and you're like, oh my God, so slow. But there's a reason for it. And GQ mentioned the turf was like a bog anyway that day. So anyway, that explains Fomeneo's. Listen, if they run on the turf, it's probably gonna be very soft, and the horses run well on the turf. So I wouldn't knock you for using the horse. The horse I think is the most likely winner is the 6 Deterministic. The only thing is now going to be either favored, or especially First World War, who's also entered at Colonial, runs in Colonial. Do I want 6-5 or 7-5 on Deterministic? I'm hoping First World War stays here because I can bet against that horse, I think. Although, again, I'm not hating that horse. But anyway, Deterministic tried the turf for the last time after running in some tough races on the dirt. And I thought ran pretty well last time on the dirt. Neat came back to win, which kind of is going to hurt the price of Deterministic. People are going to see that and be, ran against Neat and, improve the price. But I thought Neat had a much better trip in the Manila than Deterministic. So I would upgrade Deterministic. There really wasn't much pace in that race, the Manila, and still Deterministic closed. So I'm probably just going to go 6 here, Deterministic, and the 3 Royal Majesty. If the 7 also scratches, and now we're talking about Deterministic being a favorite, I have to decide if I want to use the 2 of them or just use Royal Majesty. That's most likely. And if I see the double prices, and for some reason, First World War is like a really, is the favorite, is a short price, and maybe Fulmineo takes money or Carson's Run, and I'm getting a little bit of a price on the 3 Royal Majesty and on the 6 Deterministic, maybe I'll throw in the speed horse too, but I don't think so, Isidoro. So I'll mostly 3-6 here. And again, the odds are going to depend if I bet the race. If they're decent odds, I can see betting the 2 of them and an exacta perhaps. But again, it's not a race I'm dying to bet, especially if there's, 6 horses. And if Tricari's in the race, I'm more likely to bet the race because I'll get better prices on my horse. And if I said First World War, the 7 comes out, then I'm really screwed because I'm not against First World War. He actually ran really well last time, I thought. I just don't know the extra distance is going to help him. And again, I'm not a pedigree expert or anything like that. I'm just based on what I've seen. He stumbled at the start. He often has that issue, but this time it was kind of worse. Ran a little wide. I just thought he ran pretty well last time. First World War. I'm just hoping the distance is his kryptonite if he stays here, which I'm hoping, and he can beat me out. But so I'm mostly 3-6 in this spot here. GQ?
Nope. Let's move on to the third leg. Race 7 on Saturday. Field of 10 2-year-old maidens lined up to go 1 mile and a 16th on the inner turf. Let's hope. Probably not. So, Eric, why don't you do a Cliff Notes version and give your opinion for turf, but yet if it comes off the turf, who you think might stay in?
All right, these kind of races are not my specialty with all these first-time starters, and I've said it in the past on the show. I do look at workout reports and more to knock horses out than love horses. If they're not working well, I'll knock them out rather than add, because usually the horses working well are the ones that take the money, so it doesn't necessarily help you long term. I'll just go through the horses quickly. I mean, I really don't have much to say on each one. Shug has great numbers if you like this in this spot, if it stays on the turf. At Saratoga, he wins 17%. 2-year-old first time starters routing on the turf for 272. Oh, I'm sorry. That's overall 17%, 272 ROI. At Saratoga, he's 5 for 14, 29%. So if it stays on the turf, that's a horse I would be inclined to use. I actually watch replays because you can watch on XBTV of the workouts, but I don't really. I mean, I have an idea, but there's so many people out there that are much, much, much better than me analyzing workouts. I didn't really think the two had good turf workout. From what I saw, he was outworked by a stablemate. I'm curious to see the workout reports because I want to see if the people who know a little better are on the same, thought process as me. Plus, going long first out is not easy to win. So until Chad Summers does it, I'm not going to take him, but he's a long price. Davy Crockett, I find interesting. I thought Christoph Clement has good numbers with this. He wins in the last 5 years, 22%. First time going long on the turf for 2-year-olds, 22% wins, 365 ROI. And at Saratoga, 17% wins, a little lower, but a 212 ROI. Obviously, bigger fields, tougher competition here, but still very good numbers for him. His last turf workout, July 19th, he was really, I thought, working hard to keep up. They actually went, I don't know how far, well, it says how far it was here. I can't read, I wrote so much, but 4 furlongs, but they kept going around the turn and to the backstretch again. So it was a lot longer than that. That's maybe what they timed the 4 furlongs. And he was really being pushed to keep up. I don't want to knock a horse out that I might like because of the fact that I didn't think the workout was great. So I'll look at the workout report for him. The 4, I mean, Mott, generally, I'm trying to let him beat me first time going long. He's 9% for $1.34 ROI with this move. So I'll probably lean against him, especially the short price. The 5 horse, now he ran before and I thought he ran better than it looked. So I like the 5 English Law here. He was 2 to 3 wide throughout. And I thought he was moving pretty well late. Cassie, not necessarily known for first time starter. So he's probably going to run better second out. English Channel should like the distance, all that stuff. So I definitely like the 5 here. The 6 has been running on the dirt. Joe Sharp, who, wins a decent amount. I don't want to make any negative comments, but wins a decent amount. He is 1 for 15 with this move. First time turf, going sprint to route, dirt to turf, if that makes any sense. The point is, he's not great with this move, but it's only 1 for 15. He wins this, and he all of a sudden goes from 6 or 7% to 13%. So he improves a lot. The sire, Catalina Cruiser, is 1 for 37 with turf routers, and the mom is 0 for 7 with turf routers, a couple starters. So again, small samples maybe, but it was on the turf. I don't love this horse. Honestly, I didn't really look for the dirt, so I don't know how he ran. I'd have to reanalyze for the dirt there. His replays. Fletcher is not very good with this move either. He's actually 0 for 15 with the same thing, going dirt to turf, second time starter, 2-year-old, sprint to route. So all those numbers in there. Fletcher 0 for 15. You're going to get a short price. So I'm leaning against the Fletcher on the turf. Chad Brown obviously is one of those trainers who will win first out. 15% though only first out, going long, 2-year-olds on the turf with a 111 ROI. Now 19% with only a 112 ROI at Saratoga. So Chad Brown just overbet, capable of winning. Again, I'll see how the workout reports. I will say, when I watched this horse valuation metric, I like what I saw in that workout. For what it's worth, again, I don't really want to influence people with my workout knowledge because it's very limited, but I just thought that he outworked his mate there. I didn't write who it was or if the horse ran. I would have made a note of that horse ran probably. So I kind of like the 8 a little bit, even though short price. Chad's also got the 9. Usually the longer of the Chads is the better one. So while this one, I have to look at the works. It's a Chad, could definitely do it. And the 10, Sam's Rocket. Again, Mott is not good with this move. Second time turf, going from dirt to turf, sprint to route. So having said all that, if it stays on the turf, which I don't know if it will, I was leaning towards the 1, 3, 5, 8, and maybe the 9. 1, 3, 5, 8, 9, a race where I'll spread a little bit. Unfortunately, we won't see the odds. And on the dirt, I just have to look again. But I'd be guessing mostly on these races. The 5 did run before, and I like him. So if I was leaning on one horse, I'd lean on the experienced 5 horse. But that's really all. Sorry if I went longer than I thought I would, but I don't really have much else. I'm probably going to end up planning on going about 4 or 5 deep here in the pick 5.
Well, and if this comes off the turf, if anyone cares to know or believes in the DRF Tomlinson numbers, I believe that it was the 8 horse had the best wet track at 424. Yeah. The 4 horse had like 412, I believe. Royal Presence, the 4. So if they stay in, if you believe in the wet track breeding and is it Munnings, all of his offspring run great on off track, so that's why. So
yeah, it seems like that, right? Definitely.
That might be an angle you look for if this does come off the turf. So without further ado, we'll move along to race 8, the 4th leg of the middle pick 5. It's the Grade 2 Saratoga Special, and I could be wrong, but is this named in honor of the publication that Joe Clancy and Tom Law put out daily up at Saratoga, known as the Saratoga Special? I'll give a shout out to Joe and Tom, since
there you go,
in the Pimlico press box on this week. So yeah, 6.5 furlongs on the dirt for 2-year-olds. Eric, take it away.
Yeah, these are the races I kind of like. I've probably mentioned this in the past, but these 2-year-old races, especially the stakes races here, not first-time starters, but horses who have run before. There's so much change from one start to the other. And it's so much based on the trip they got the first time, I feel, because a horse who got like a 45 buyer with kind of a tough trip, that could have easily been a lot higher. And now, not only are you getting, like, let's say they ran a 45 buyer, a horse, and in my opinion, the horse had a tough trip, gotten a huge duel with a really good horse or whatever it was. To me, they ran like a 55 or a 60. Not only that, but now they're also 2-year-olds and they can easily improve, 10, 15, 20, 30 points on their next start. So you're talking about a horse who maybe got a 45 buyer who's capable of running an 80 next time if you guess right or you have it right. So I kind of like that because you can really do some speculating here and get paid. So having said that, let me turn to it on the PPs for those who are watching us and not just listening. Sorry about that. There's a horse I like here at a little bit of a price. And then there's a second horse that I might use also. And that's all for me this race. So the horse I'll start with is the 2-horse Showcase. Showcase broke his maiden on July 6th. Now, the horse that he beat, Protected, was a horse that I'm just checking my notes here. He dueled with. In fact, I can click on, we haven't done any replays or anything. Should I show the replay maybe? So he dueled with Protected for a while, or attacked him and chased, I won't say dueled, and eventually dueled with him, put him away. Now that horse held second. So a lot of times when a horse comes in second, when you duel a horse or you battle a horse up front and that horse holds second, I'm like, yeah, speed kind of held. Maybe it wasn't as good as it looked, but I just was very impressed with the way the horse finished. And, a lot of it is, were the horse is behind him any good? How good is this other horse? But if we watch the replay, I'm going to scroll ahead a little bit so we don't sit here for the people on the radio, bored out of their brains. But you can see Protected, the 3 is on the lead and the 5 is comfortably chasing him as the 3 is really working hard and they're kind of bunched up a little bit. So, maybe it wasn't the fastest pace in the world. And if I just fast forward a little bit to the stretch, I went a little too far there. At this point, you can see Showcase is just really pulling away and winning for fun. And I was very impressed with the race. I thought the pace was not particularly fast, but it wasn't like they were just crawling up front, in my opinion. And I like this race. He didn't ask him. You can see he's hand riding to the finish. Easy win there. And if you look at the other horses in the race, you can see my screen here if you're watching. I don't think any of them came back to run yet. There's a good thing about Formulator. They haven't.
They have. And that's what I was going to point out while you're talking.
I'm looking. I'm going through all of them.
But Cyclone State.
There you go.
Cyclone State was a horse that I loved based on this race. At the beginning of this particular race replay just showed, Cyclone State got off really slow. Gaffleone, for whatever reason, rushed the horse up. We put him into contention on the turn, and he was, 3 wide on the turn. And the horse made that middle move, and then by mid stretch he flattened out. So I thought, oh, okay, coming back, I'm going to bet him. So that's what I did. I believe it was probably last Saturday, one of the early races. Eric and I and two of our other partners in crime, Tom and Nick, we for the past couple of years we have this thing going on, horses that we love, and we want to see how they do if we really love a horse. Well, I made the mistake of loving Cyclone State, and Eric's comment afterwards was, "You would have been golden if it was 5 furlongs." And that's what happened. The horse,
I don't remember it, but I don't doubt it.
Horse looked good, and then hit the wall, at the 16th hole.
But you can see the horse improved 35 buyer points. So part of it is what GQ said. The horse had some trouble and ran into that pace early, maybe made an early move or rushed up. So that 37 was probably more like a 50 something. And then on top of that, improved anyway. So that's where you can see big improvement. So if anything, it flattered. I know the Cyclone State, you said, had some problems in that first race against Showcase, but if anything, it might flatter. Even though he came in 6th, he improved a lot out of the first race. So anyway, that's the horse I like here, Showcase. The other horse I like won't be as good a price, I don't think, unless something crazy happens. That's the 9, Keep It Easy. What I don't like about the 9 is he's coming off the best last race buyer speed figure, and that gets people to bet the horse, which I don't like. But it's interesting that David Aragona made him 4-1 in the morning line, because I handicapped this before, and I'm like, this horse is going to be the favorite. Maybe 5-2, not like a huge favorite, but I thought this horse might be the favorite. Possibly the Wesley Ward horse could, and we'll touch on him in a second. No pun intended, if you know the horse's name. But we'll touch on that horse in a second. But I figured either, co-favorite, slight favorite, the 9, possibly slight second choice. But he has been 4-1, which is, higher than I thought. And I don't know. He knows what he's doing big time, David. So I guess he's going to be right. This horse was pressed by an even money shot last race. And if I click on the chart here and I scroll down, you can see that even money shot, Sandman, who pressed him, ended up coming in pretty far back in 5th place. So, ran pretty well. You can see Normandy Coast, for what it's worth, came back to win 10 points higher. The one thing about Keeping It Easy that I don't like out of that race, the reason I don't love this horse, he was the only one with experience. You can see he last raced June 6th, where everyone else was a first-time starter. So I don't love that, because that's a big advantage he had. But I thought he ran really well in that race, and he won for fun. So I can't hold it against him. So I like the 2 the most, more because of the price, and then the 9. Just a couple horses I want to touch on real quickly. And I keep saying the word touch, and the first time it was on purpose. The other times it wasn't. The 5 is Touchy. And listen, this horse absolutely can win this race.
I hope so, since in June they bet him down to 4 to 5. He led till late.
Yeah, and if you remember, or if you've been following Saratoga at all, you can see that.
Not me. No, never.
Well, this race you did, I think, because we were talking about this one. Studley Do Right. If you remember, that horse is a Mid-Atlantic.
Right.
Is that
I was
going to
mention, I'm surprised they don't bring him back in for this race.
Yeah, well, he just ran July 13th, I guess. It's a few weeks. It's been a month, but I guess they're skipping this one. I don't know. Hopefully everything's okay with the horse. But Studley Do Right won the race. Oh, no, wait. Didn't he come back, Studley?
July 13th. He came back in Sanford and ran second.
Sanford. Right. Okay. So Studley Do Right was in this race. 3 Echoes, who I liked a lot, an Asmussen horse, who I think came in 3rd in the Sanford, who I liked in that spot, although got bet, so I didn't love because of the odds. But the point is that Touchy ran against 2 horses who came back to do well in stakes, but it wasn't the toughest Sanford race. If you remember, the favorite was a horse on the inside, the 1 horse for Pletcher, Moofy. Was it? Am I making that up? Do you remember? It was like a horse who had
it was MO something.
Yeah, had went like 21-43, had like an 18-length lead, and then another horse, Colloquial, I think, or something like that, was catching him at the wire and just missed. And I was going to go against that horse coming back. But anyway, my point is that Touchy did run against some horses that came back to do well in the stakes, which is probably one of the reasons why the horse is listed as the morning line favorite, that and Wesley Ward. But a couple reasons I don't love the horse. First of all, the price. That's the one reason I don't love the horse. Second, Wesley Ward has him keyed up the first time. So it's not like, where these other horses, maybe you're like, oh, the horse is going to take a step forward. I'm not saying Wesley Ward won't take a step forward, but the horse was cranked up for that first start, or you have to think that. The horse, yeah, while there was a battle early, had a fairly easy lead by the turn. The horses chasing were 2-1 and 4-1, and they held third and fourth. So Studley closed into that, which was impressive. The others kind of stayed there, the speed. So I don't know. I just, at a short price, a horse who didn't really have to battle too hard, I don't think, on the lead, I'll take a chance against, put up a big figure. Like I said, it's more about the price for Touchy. I definitely can win the race. And the only other horse I'll touch upon here, because he's a short price, is First Report. And First Report was in a race where I thought Speeds did relatively well. I don't know why I wrote that, because now I'm looking at something else that I wrote down. But if I go to the chart, it doesn't. Oh, that was the Ellis Park race. That's what it was. Yeah. So I don't know. He ran at Ellis Park. He was in a little bit of a pace battle with 6-1 shot who held fourth. So it's not like the race collapsed when a 6-1 shot is able to hold fourth, and not that far back. If you look at the chart, this horse won by 3, number 4 First Report, and then the Resort. Then there was just like a length between the next couple finishers. So I don't know. The horse can win, but again, a horse who had the lead at Ellis, dueling a little bit, but usually that's a speed favoring track, and I'm kind of against the 4. Both the 4 and 5 can win. It's more for the price. And because this sequence, in my opinion, is not the greatest sequence to bet, I don't want to go spreading a lot of races. So this is a race I'm not going to spread at all. I said I'm going to single showcase in the pick 5, possibly using the 9 if I'm not using other favorites, possibly using the 9, keep it easy. And that's really it. Others can win, but I'm just going to keep it simple with those 2 horses, 2-9. GQ, any final thoughts or move on? Whatever you want to do. Questions, comments?
That's quite fine. We'll kill that race 8 and go on to the last leg of Saturday's middle pick 5 at Saratoga, which is the reboot of the Troy, the Grade 2 Troy, scheduled for 5.5 furlongs on the turf, which was moved from last Saturday. We covered this race, but lo and behold, they redrew. There is at least one defection, I believe, Eric. So take it from here.
Yeah, I think it was, I know it was the Appleby horse, maybe Magical Mischief or something like that. A big closer, right. Scratched. The post positions changed. I don't have much here because I just think Cogburn is better than these. And Cogburn, if you remember last year, was it last year or 2 years ago? I think it was last year. Cogburn won on a really soft turf over that nemesis of mine. Who was that horse? Caravel. So I'm pretty sure Caravel was in that race that Cogburn won at 7-1 at Saratoga last year on very soft turf. So listen, Cogburn, I can scroll down. There's not much to talk about. It is by far the horse to beat. Something has speed. Oh, I went all the way down. Has speed. So it's not like it's dependent on a pace. And if there's a fast pace, can sit. So something would have to go wrong here for Cogburn to lose this. And it's horse racing. Anything can happen. But I'm just going to single Cogburn. I'm not even playing games. Now, I actually... a lot of these
now you last week when we went over this, you had mentioned both Whitty, who is 12-1, I believe, morning, or was 12-1 morning line, and I don't know, the Mischievous Angel was 30-1 last Saturday.
Yep.
Trying to see, because they Mischievous Angel is what, the 8? No,
was the one last time, is out now. Oh, Mischievous Angel is the 11. I'm sorry. I don't know what number she was last time.
It's the 8. Oh, she was the 5 last time.
Yes.
She's 1, 2, 3. She's like the 8. You want to scroll down? But
today it's the 11 horse.
11. Okay, so yeah, I didn't know.
He's the 11. Yeah, I said she.
Re-mention why you kind of like them.
Yeah, I was starting to say there that I actually might bet this race vertically, which is odd because usually when you like a 1-2 shot, it's not the race to bet. But a couple of things happened. Number one, Magical Mischief is out. Now that was going to be the second or third choice. And while I didn't love the horse, I figured the horse had a decent shot at getting second or third. So betting Cogburn over like using the second choice or third choice is not really exciting. So that was one reason why I wasn't looking forward to the race. Secondly, there really wasn't pace, and my long shots are speed horses. But what ends up happening is Step Forward draws into the race. A Cassie horse, who's not like a blazer, but definitely has some speed. Last time had some trouble out of the gate, but before that had the lead at Canada and Woodbine and the Hillander, and actually ran against Woody in that race. And if I click on that race here for Step Forward, the 3 horse and the 1 Whitty, you can see speed. Step Forward was first, ended up finishing third. Filo Di Ariano, horse who I've liked in the past as a long shot against these good horses, was second the whole way, ends up winning. And the third place horse, Oceanic, was able to hold fourth. Now you can see it was all kind of longer shots in the back, so maybe they shouldn't have closed. So I don't want to say it was definite speed favoring race, but I thought, Woody did well to close. The only horse really to close at all in that race. You can look, if you take out Woody's, where he was at the quarter pole, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, basically in order there. So I thought Winnie was the horse to have out of that race. And, hopefully the 3 brings a little more speed into this race. There's not a ton of speed maybe on paper. Dancing Buck should have some speed. And that's a horse I'm going to try and beat here, believe it or not, even though some smart people like Dancing Buck a little bit. So I'm hoping the 3, the 7, Dancing Buck, Cogburn brings some pace, maybe an XY speed. He's not really a speed ball, but he showed some speed last time, going 5 at Gulfstream, stretching out a little bit. So I'm hoping there's a little speed in here and it'll set it up. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm singling Cogburn. I don't think Cogburn's losing, but I'm going to put Cogburn over a few horses. One of them is Witty, who I already mentioned. Horse who you're familiar with, GQ. I've been with you when this horse has run before in Maryland and Mid-Atlantic Star here, but didn't really have much pace and still ran the best speed figure, or at least the best buyer on turf that she's ever run before. So this horse might even be getting better if that's possible, or at least in excellent form, and gets any pace here. I think we'll do has a chance to definitely come in second at 12-1. The other one that I wanted to mention that you mentioned was the 11 horse, who last week I said is a bomb, is crazy, probably not coming in, but I want to use. But now at the Scratch of Magical Mischief with a little more speed signed on, you know what? Why not? Why can't Mischievous Angel come in the top 3 or 4 here? I love this horse. I won't tell the whole story about being at CBS watching this horse. You can go to last week's show if you really want, but I singled this horse 2 back. I mentioned last week how I was kind of cursing Pratt for waiting so long on April 28th, but he got up just in time, and that's why he's Pratt, because he's so good and he timed it perfectly. And then last time, the horse ran, there really was no pace in the race. I should probably go to my notes and not just base this on memory. But I thought that was a mostly speed favoring race last time. If I click on the chart for those watching, the horse Boats a Rockin' just wired the field at 6-1, and some other horses made up a little ground. So it wasn't like a total speed race. It really wasn't a ton of pace in the race. He was stepping up in class. Now he's obviously stepping up a lot. I mean, if this horse was a short price at all, I wouldn't use him, but I just think I'm a big fan of the horse. 3rd off a layoff now. I just think this horse has a chance to hit the board here at a big price. So I'm going to do a lot of Cogburn over the 1 Witty, the 11 Mischievous Angel. I guess Outlaw Kid, the 2 would be with Pratt, the aforementioned Pratt would be my other choice here. So for the most part, I'm going to bet, I don't know exactas, although I will definitely with the 11. I'll see the prices with the 1 and 2. It might not be worth it, but I'm going to put Cogburn over the 1, 2, 11 in triples, probably in some supers, and I'll add a few more for that 4 spot maybe, but because there's some horses I don't like that I can eliminate. And that's how I'm going to approach this race. So this might be the race that I bet vertically more than the other races, which is odd, like I said, with a 1 to 2 shot. What I would do too, personally, if I'm already investing a decent amount with Cogburn on top, I would just do like a $1 exacta box, 1, 2, 11, just in case Cogburn doesn't run. For $6, I would cry if it came in 11-1 and paid $600 for like $1 or something like that, and I didn't have it. So, and maybe even like a 50-cent triple box, 1, 2, 11. It's probably throwing away $9 total there. But if I'm investing like $30 or $40 just with Cogburn on top, just to have it a little bit in case Cogburn doesn't run. But that's how I would approach the race. And like I said, I'm not trying to beat Cogburn and pick 5s. I think they're all running for second place. That's it.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I'm not sure. I didn't put the timer on this week. Hopefully we keep reducing each week by at least a minute or whatever. So maybe by basketball season we'll be down to a half hour.
Yeah, you know what? This was I didn't write it down. I usually do, but I think we were definitely under 50 minutes. I don't know. I don't want to say that, and then people can see the time on the bottom and be like, "You're an idiot." But I think it was like in the low 40s. But I'm not sure what time we started.
Okay. Well, do your no rain dance. I know you're going to be there this weekend. Hopefully, it'll be good racing, not a bunch of scratches, and hopefully we'll have some nice weather for the August 17th card. I think I have my calendar right. Is that correct? Saturday is the 10th. So we'd be talking about a pick 5 sequence on Saturday. And if I'm going to make a bold statement, there's a chance of rain in Saratoga, we'll call we got to go somewhere else. or we'll find a sequence that only has maybe one turf race.
All right.
How's that?
Sounds good to me. All right. So anyway, enjoy your weekend. GQ, enjoy your New England jaunt up there. You got your Boston accent ready to go so you can sound like a local?
No.
Move. Park the car.
I'll sound like a Southern hick from Maryland.
There you go. I've been watching Cheers reruns. I started with season 1 and it's going very slow. I'm on like season 3 or 4 now, but it's been several months. So I'm getting a little Boston feel back. Lived up there for a few years. But anyway, thank you all for listening or watching or both. Have a great weekend. Ta-ta.